Hi everyone. Today I am back yet again with another video about this awful, terrible book, Kim, Empty Inside by the late fraud Dr. Beatrice Sparks, who was not a doctor, not a PhD, not a psychologist, did not have a clinical adolescent psychological practice, did not even have any sort of college diploma at all, not even an associate's degree. She fooled so many people for decades. It just makes me angry she got away with this fraud. But anyway, this is going to be the fifth and final video in my series about everything wrong with this book. The last 100 things on the list, I decided to cap it in at 100. It's like a fairly short book, so I wasn't going to find like quite as many things wrong with it as I found with It Happened to Nancy, which I also did on another series. And after this, I will of course be doing a video giving, an actual synopsis and review of the book, plus the video I promised about everything wrong with the depiction of eating disorders in this. Is just so freaking insulting, and to people who've actually had eating disorders and their loved ones, plus just scientifically inaccurate. But anyway, this is going to be based off of a blog post which will go live on my main blog on the 10th of February 2025. So if you guys are watching this before that date, consider this, a sneak preview. So let's just start going through the last 20. I'm sure I could have found many more, but the last 20 major things I found wrong with this garbage excuse of a book. Beatrice Sparks well and truly must have been a Puritan preacher or an 18th century author of over-the-top morality plays intended for kids about unnaturally, unrealistically perfect children in a previous lifetime. Had she been a man in her own lifetime, the one we know her as being famous from, she would have been perfect as a holier-than-thou Mormon bishop or general authority. Even to this date, Mormons do not extend their so-called priesthood to women, one of many issues I have with that cult. So number 81, this is continuing the numbers aforementioned from the previous videos. Is Lawrence a time traveler from the aforesaid 18th century? How many modern Christians refer to Sunday as the Sabbath in casual conversation? I mean, of course, it's not entirely unheard of to just refer on our Sabbath we do this, but that's tends to be in a more specific context. It's not just, a Sabbath service. This is a bookmarked it out. After a short, this is, I'm sorry, I should give the context to this passage. Lawrence yet again is oversharing about his personal life, his backstory. That's kind of one of many red flags about him. And when anyone in general does this, we barely know one another, and it was totally unprompted. And I'm just oversharing about anything about myself and just going on and on. That's really creepy. This is supposed to be romantic, and so anyway, he's bawling about how he's allegedly effed up because his mother died at the age of 5, and his father sent him away to be raised by nannies in boarding schools, and his dad is rich. And my parents were older when they married, 32 and 33. Who ever heard of anyone getting married that old? It's older is my age, 45. That's not in your early 30s. That's still pretty young to be getting married. And so anyway, after a short period of silence, Lauren said quietly, "Once on the Sabbath, Howard's grandmother took us to a church service." He closed his eyes and stretched out on the floor. Looking up at the ceiling, he began to talk so softly I had to strain to hear him as he described the vaulted golden church ceiling that was so high it seemed to pierce the sky. And it goes on and on and on. "Oh, did I ever tell you my daddy is an atheist? Oh no, that's so terrible. And I'm giving you a way too personal gift, a necklace that says I love you, because who doesn't give such personal gifts to someone they barely know and have only been dating for a few months?" I could do a whole separate video and blog post on what a walking collection of red flags Lawrence is. It's just run, girl. This is not someone you want to be involved with. He has way, way too much baggage, and he's looking to you as a mother substitute. But anyway, number 82. Of course, Dr. Fraud has to slip in more anti-Semitism by having Lawrence's employee, Dr. Lutkin, force him to work over the entire Christmas season until Lawrence calls him to explain the need to fly to Arizona with his instalove girlfriend for the holiday. And of course, mommykins and daddykins happily instantly welcome into the family and put him up in their own home because Kim is so spoiled, and she must have met her future husband already at all of 17. Dr. Lutkin apologizes for being a tyrant. I mean, I'm totally lost for words. Yet again, totally inconsistent, implausible character development story arcs. Are we supposed to believe Lawrence never celebrated Christmas at all just because his like father is an atheist? Did she not understand, as I mentioned in the previous video, many atheists, particularly like the ones who have not been like born and bred atheists their entire lives, like for example, like the first few decades of the Soviet Union, like dyed in the wool, hardcore communist, no religion at all. Like, yeah, I could understand that kind of like family not doing Christmas, but even in the Soviet Union, after like a couple of decades, they eventually brought back the Christmas tree as a secular symbol and began like celebrating the Russian Orthodox Christmas, so albeit done on New Year's Day instead of the traditional date of January 7th. So even many like hardcore atheists, if they came from any sort of like, cultural background that had Christianity, they will still do Christmas at some level. Yeah, of course, it'll be like purely secular, won't have a single religious component, but at least they do Christmas. I cannot believe this. Like, we're supposed to like go along with this story arc that says, oh, Lawrence never had a real Christmas and Daddy doesn't do Christmas because he's an atheist, and being an atheist means you don't do any holidays at all. La la la. Oh, poor Lawrence was so deprived. But like, anyway, if why wouldn't you tell your professor, or your professor wouldn't already know, okay, there's like a big holiday coming up? Most people, even if they're not Christians, or even if they're atheists who like, walk the walk and talk the talk, don't do any like holidays at all. Like, people enjoy having that time of year off just to like have a break from work and school, like see their family again, like relax, do a little mini vacation. And why is he making him work all the way through without like finding someone else to do it, or just say, okay, let's, put the project on hold, or do something a little intense, or just whatever, because that's the time of year most people have a vacation. And previously Mrs. Sparks, Dr. Fraud, had said, oh, Dr. Lutkin is Jewish and his wife is Christian, and they do the holidays the others celebrate. So why wouldn't he, if he celebrates Christmas himself already, why is he doing this? It makes no sense. None of her storylines are just consistent. It just makes me angry. And people gave her a complete pass on this because she presented them as real teen journals. Like, had people known at the time she was the real author, she would not have gone past the slush pile, like form rejections to query letters, or they would have like nailed her ass with an editor, like, go back to the drawing board, like, you need to rewrite this almost completely. Well, maybe like 10 editing passes through and actually edit it. Don't just do a light once over and change a few things here and there. You need to learn to write, or maybe take some writing classes at a local community college or something like that. But it just pisses me off how it's like staggering, like amounts of inconsistency. But moving on. Number 83. Did Dr. Fraud ever travel at that time of year? I mean, this is again, what? I call BS on Daddykins easily being able to get plane tickets for Kim and Lawrence on Christmas Eve of all days. What? And only 2 hours in advance of the flight, no less. Oh, boy. And before that, Kim easily reschedules her flight twice. It's actually only mentioned the rescheduling it once to December 23rd, but then we're told, oh, I rescheduled my flight. So presumably we're supposed to assume she rescheduled it yet a second time. She's lying to her parents about a sick sorority sisters because, oh, I can't be apart from Lawrence. I need him. I'm incomplete without him. He needs me. We can't be apart for any reason. Oh, la, 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 la. And I'm only 17 and basing my entire future on a dude I barely just met. We must be in wub already. La, la, la. Oh, just the instalove crap pissed me off. Number 84. Speaking of, how many real families would so quickly trust and want to host an instalove boyfriend? Oh boy, I hate instalove. Mommykins, Daddykins, and the lazily named twins Dara and Lara, or Dara and Lara, buy 15 presents for Lawrence, albeit most from the dollar store, but still, while he and Kim are en route, as well as putting him up in their house and letting him borrow some of Daddy's clothes because, only 2 hours to the flight. They don't really have time to pack anything, so they'll have to like share people's clothes when they get there and can't really even have suitcases. This is so freaking stupid. Such a last minute flight on Christmas Eve, only like 2 hours advance notice. Like, oh, can you just be at the airport in 2 hours? Yeah, I'll totally drop everything. I can be ready. Like, this isn't a freaking emergency or even like an unexpected, God forbid, a loved one dies and you have to be there really quickly for the funeral. It's like nobody planned ahead. This is just so like freaking like stupid. Oh, the day has been beyond description. Mom and Dad and the twins met us at the airport, and Lawrence was adopted into our family instantly. Who does that for a brand new boyfriend? Mom had told them everything I told her about Lawrence. Lara and Dara teased him, saying they couldn't understand how a gorgeous, brilliant hunk like him, that's one of her favorite like phrases or variations of it, could be drawn to their buggy little sister. He smiled and said I was perfect. I told them so much about Lawrence, they treated him like he was one of us, and they forgave me for lying about my sorority sister being sick. December 25th, Christmas Day. I think this is the one when there are 11 exclamation points afterwards. Someone on doing a Goodreads review said they actually counted this thing, and it looks like more exclamation points than any others in the previous. It was fun, fun, fun. She loved repeating words thrice, thrice, thrice for emphasis, 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 with all the blinds pulled down and scented candles burning and the tree lights on and Christmas music playing softly. It was a very special, sacred, and loving occasion. Actually, sometimes funny, too. I told Mom about Lawrence's father being an atheist. Oh, that's just beyond the pale. Who ever heard of an atheist? And she suggested we make this his best Christmas ever. And we did. When we were flying home, Mom, Dad, and the twins bought stuff and wrapped packages for him. He had piles of gifts. Oh, that's so nice for a barely known boyfriend. Mom even made him a batch of chocolate chip and nut cookies. Like, nice job inquiring if the dude has allergies before you make stuff with nuts. Or maybe he's like, well, I mean, obviously this probably wasn't so much a possibility back in the day, but, you know, maybe he had celiac disease, couldn't eat it, or maybe he had like dietary restrictions. He was like a vegan, didn't like butter and eggs, but, you know, Dr. Fraud never thought of that stuff. And package 1 or 2 or 3. Oh, how many? 1, 2, or 3. Those are different numbers. In beautifully wrapped boxes to be scattered between his 2 good gifts, as well as all his dollar store gifts. Oh, that's insulting. It's like when, oh, there's a birthday party. I had no idea. It's like last minute roped into attending. I'll just like, you know, run into the bathroom because the party's in the house and just grab the first thing I see. Oh, surprise. Happy birthday, you know, Ashley. Here's a roll of toilet paper for your birthday. I put so much thought and love and care and effort into surprising you. Her birthday. Oh, and here's some soap and a box of tampons. Oh, didn't I put so much effort and love into getting your last minute half-assed gift? He had to guess what he thought was in each of his 15 Christmas present boxes before he opened them. We all rolled on the floor with laughter. Hardy har har, thigh slapping, hilarity of Mormons are so easily entertained. While he held the cookie boxes close to his chest and wouldn't give even Mom or me a single bite. Oh no! Finally, when all the packages were opened, the twins and I, amid all the boxes and wrappings, held Lawrence down, and each of us took a cookie from him. It was the funniest thing I've ever done in my life. Hardy har har! Lawrence had big tears in his eyes as he told us this was the first time he'd ever had that kind of a real family experience. Oh, just, this woman was a complete, like, you know what, terrible, awful writer. But anyway, like, I'm getting ahead of rambling on. Number 85. What in tarnation are flushers? Like, what? I thought there was laxatives at first, but the context made it kind of obvious they probably weren't supposed to be. Is that supposed to be old-timey slang for vomit-inducing drugs? I tried Googling it and only saw definitions for other things. Like, she used so many outdated slang terms and like vocabulary that no longer has that same association. Number 86. Why does Kim never mention Rush Week, pledging, and initiation, or any other things like related to Greek life at her sorority? Did Dr. Fraud have even a single clue how Greek life works? I mean, that's more of a rhetorical question given she's depicting Kim moving right into a sorority house just because Mommykins was a member. She has a legacy. She has no need to like actually get accepted. It's just, oh, your mother was in. Oh, you're in too. Just go right in. Even though you're just a first year student, you haven't even pledged or rushed or been accepted yet. Oh, such ignorance. Number 87. Why is Kim's weight never mentioned till the end? We're finally told it's 79 pounds and then it goes up to 85. How are we supposed to get an accurate mental picture of just how her eating disorder is physically impacting her, or even if she's just only imagining she's like so much like fatter than she is? It would have been nice to be told actual like starting weight too. But again, I'll have to go into this in more detail in the eating disorders like misinformation video. Number 88. Is Kim really still wearing clothes from the juniors department? Or did Dr. Fraud just not understand modern sizing? Kim says she wants to be a size 1 instead of a 0. I mean, I do understand it's, of course, no like hard and fast rule, like shop wherever you want as long as, the clothes obviously fit you and they look like flattering for you. It's not like, oh, baby clothes, but most old adult women, even by the time you're 17, you're eager to be like a big girl and a real woman, a young lady. You don't want to be caught shopping in freaking juniors when the sizes are odd instead of even. It's a rite of passage to graduate to, like the women's department. Like so many things about her, just like she did not understand modern life or like any kind of life outside of the Morridor at all. Just a total idiot. Number 89. It's really goofy and concerning how Kim is so codependent with Lawrence, especially since they barely know one another, like only a couple of months. She thinks she can't function without him and rages because he has to go to Johns Hopkins to work on an important scientific project instead of spending 24/7 with her spoiled ass. Oh boy. Number 90. Just like in Nancy, Dr. Fraud inserts long info-dumpy medical explanations and definitions of the eating disorders and their like symptoms and their like worst case scenarios and stuff. Maybe I'm just odd, but when I was recovering from my broken leg, burns, and 7 surgeries, I never dropped anywhere near that level of detail in my journal entries like, oh, these are the drugs I had to choose between, and these are, the potential side effects, and I chose this drug instead of getting like an epidural for one of my surgeries. Like, believe it or not, epidurals are not only used for like pregnant women giving birth. I was surprised, but to learn that anyway. But, oh, and this is exactly the detail that's going on with my burns and the broken legs, and these are options I have to choose from, and this is exactly how the splint went on, and this is exactly how the cast came off, and oh, my stitches, and I'm going to graphically describe the bruises that were left over when my cast was taken off and the stitches came off, and all these things like oh, and I vomited when I came out of this surgery because they forgot to give me the anti-nausea thing along with the morphine and the anesthesia. Like, no, who's going to write about that in a journal unless you're specifically writing it towards publication about your whatever issue you're going through? Like, it's just like totally stupid info dump. She needed an actual editor. Boy. Number 91. This is shocking for a Dr. Fraud book. Why does Mommykins go right home after getting Kim out of the psych ward? Like, and she just like flies to UCLA, like gets her out, then back to Arizona. If I had a child who was hospitalized for an eating disorder, maybe I'm just weird, but I wouldn't let her go back to classes and the rest of her other life immediately. Like nothing out of the ordinary had just happened. Like such little concern for her. Like what's going on upstairs? Number 92. I can't go along with Kim being so thin and sick. She's rushed to hospital twice when there's been no consistent, realistic development of her eating disorder. One of many things wrong with the depiction of the eating disorders, but again, that's a upcoming future video with more details. It's just dumped on the page as suddenly super serious. Within the last 20 pages, I'm not like exaggerating. The book is, it's not even 170 pages long. In the last couple of pages are just about her skimpy back matter about where to go for like help. The book proper ends on page 162, and then like this is like after Christmas. This is in like in January. She's trying to like break up with Lawrence. She's like, oh, saw Lawrence for almost half an hour, but that just makes me more needy and greedy. Oh, I can't function without Lawrence. He's my everything. So close and yet so far away. I hate it that he always has to be with Dr. Lutkin. Oh, imagine someone who wants a scientific career putting his career in like academic studies first so he can like have a good job to support your spoiled Molly Mormon ass. Oh no, he has to be with me all the time. I am whole again. Oh, I need my babykins. Lawrence, la la la. And then January 18th, page 136, she faints when she comes out of English class. And a lady and a man were trying to make me stand upright. Like, she uses the word lady and ladies way more often than woman and women in this book. Like, oh, Lawrence talks about the lady scientists he was working with. Like, are you time travelers? Like, so basically like page 136 to 162, and she's instantly better. That's like 46, 56? So that's like less than 30 pages. Like she just wraps all this crap up with a neat little hospital bow. It just makes me angry. She like reduces like serious issues to like, oh, I'll just like boom through them. Like, underdevelop them, and then, oh, they're suddenly serious at warp speed, and oh, the character is dead, or the character magically recovers just in time for the minimal word count to be finished. Number 63. I'm sorry, number 93. I'm getting confused with the page numbers. Lawrence books a flight from Baltimore to LA after Kim breaks up over email, and he sent her an email she immediately deleted without reading, and calls Kim from the plane, saying it's an emergency and she needs to meet him by the airport. When he arrives, he says, I wouldn't, in all caps, let you go, ever, in all caps. Like, can we say stalker? Dude, just like lick your wounds, like, get over it, like, take some time just being for yourself. Okay, she doesn't want to be with me, maybe give her a little bit of space. Maybe I was coming on too strong and I scared her. Maybe we should see other people for all, but nope, I have to live with her. I can't live without her. Oh no, we must be together I'm already 19. How can I find anyone else to marry at this old age? My parents were 32 and 33. I'm not gonna do that. Oh. Number 94. Maria kindly lends Kim her car for 2 hours, despite their troubled past relationship. Like, nice of Maria to forgive Kim for that. And Kim selfishly decides to ignore that agreement and spend all day with Lawrence at the beach at their special little private cove, crying, cuddling, and saying mushy stuff, and of course the usual more oversharing about their personal lives unprompted, like a total pushover. Maria isn't at all mad about it. I would be so angry. Like, what if she needed her car? She had to like go to like work when there wasn't a bus route there. It was like too far to walk, or she like needed the car for an emergency, or just didn't want her car out of her physical possession for that long. It's not your car. Like these people are just so freaking stupid, and they just like forgive and forget like way too easily. Oh, it would be too much, take up too many words to just accurately, realistically depict like having a fight or forgiving someone, or like learning to do like atonement or whatever, like forging a new, different kind of relationship. But nope, oh, she instantly forgave us because I'm a crap writer. I can't be bothered to develop anything. Just bam, 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 dump it up all on the page because I never learned how to write anywhere. Oh boy, sorry for that noise from the street. Number 95. Kim says Lawrence reminded him, this is like probably the biggest red flag ever. He says Kim reminded him of his dead mother from the moment he met her. What? I would run, not walk if some dude ever told that to me. That is so freaking creepy. Yet another red flag. My ex Sergey, many reasons he's an ex, once told me something similar. This is like, he really told me this, so I'm not just paraphrasing it. I need a substitute for my mother, someone my age, someone I can have sex with. Oh boy, there were so many straws that broke the camel's back, and I think that was one of the final ones out of many like red flags and straws that should have broken the camel's back earlier. Thank God I did not make the mistake of marrying him. Number 96. When Kim later tries to leave and tells Lawrence, this is when they're still at the beach, he shouldn't have come. He grabbed me so tightly I could hardly breathe, and shouts, no, in all caps, and I'll never, in all caps, let you go again. I would be so freaked out and like getting a restraining order against this creepy stalker. This is textbook controlling stalkery behavior. Did she expect her teen readers to think, oh, this is so romantic, they'll never let go? I'm sure like many of her like imagined readers that in 2002 they were like seeing Titanic a million times in a row, so they were like thinking that kind of a normal, oh no, Jackykins, I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go, and I'll let you die on the door. Oh boy, she was a terrible writer, and I'm so like creeped out at how she portrayed like red flags and codependency and stalking as being like stalking is like totally like normal and like romantic and something to aspire to, and that young girls were supposed to somehow relate to and aspire to. Oh boy. Number 97. Lawrence follows this caveman display up with saying he wants them to marry, though not right away. Oh, that's kind of him. Because that's what all modern 19-year-old boys are thinking about, particularly with girls they barely know. So many writers fail at accurately depicting the opposite sex. The whole trope of like men writing women. She breasted boobily down the stairs, then titted downward. And they have the women writing men. I do like, characters who are like, sweet and sensitive and nurturing. Of course, like many men are like that, like not just in fiction, but like, they're not these like ideal, perfect man and like, pushovers and like simps and just like blubbering at the drop of a hat, like so many women write them as. They're like actual men. They're like socialized male. Even the gender atypical, like defiant ones, they're still like socialized as male. And like these many women writers just do not understand this because they've obviously never been male themselves, so they just don't know what it's like to be in that environment. And even like just like male writers don't understand like what it's like to be socialized as like female and having a female body. And just people should just, I mean, I know you'll never be 100% accurate depicting the opposite sex, no matter how hard you're trying, even if you're like gender defiant yourself, like a tomboy or a man who's like a very like sensitive, in touch with his feelings. But at least like try to be accurate, run it by some people, try like, reading more widely in your genre. Just like, these writers like this just make me so like angry. It's just stupid. Number 98. Why is Mommykins happy Kim and Lawrence plan to marry in a few years? How many modern parents are thrilled about marrying so young, especially after such a whirlwind instalove courtship? Again, they barely know one another. Like, oh, I need to get married soon because, oh, I might have a licked, dirty cupcake. And, oh, I can't have my precious virginity spoiled. I have to marry the first guy I ever really like and feel serious about, my only real boyfriend. And if we're not married by the time I'm like 21 years old, it'll be all over for me because like the whole world functions like it does at YBU and in the Morridor. Number 99. Is Kim supposed to be ageless? I mean, seriously. The book spans 13 months. Yet her birthday is never mentioned. I mean, maybe it's possible it was like in the most briefest of passings at like one point, and I just forgot because like this is not a particularly memorable book at all. But just like, why would you not mention your own birthday in your like a journal? Like what time of year is her birthday? Particularly, she said she's 17 and a half when the book starts in March, and like she would be 18 by the end of the book, but her birthday is like never mentioned. Number 100. Dr. Fraud loved the trope of troubled teens declaring, COMG, I thought I was the only one with this problem, and how convenient Kim discovers two of her sorority sisters, Jamie and Leah, are also in the eating disorder support group. Oh, wow, I thought they were perfect and they had it all together and they're just like me. Oh, wow, I'm taking comfort from all these kids who also have eating disorders. Are we supposed to believe Kim has never heard of anorexia and bulimia? This book was just bad, and I look forward to the full, like, ripping it apart even more in the video, doing the review in full synopsis, and of course the eating disorder video. Like this, I've never had an eating disorder myself, but like, you don't need to have had one to know, like, this is just insulting. It's like, nothing about this is realistic. I mean, she does like realistically tell us the, symptoms and complications and stuff, but we don't really like see it developing naturally. And Kim, it never really feels serious. It's so many reasons this book is crap. So thank you guys very much for watching all the way through to the end. Please feel free to leave me, comments as long as they're like respectful and polite comments. Like, have you ever read this book? Are you familiar with Dr. Fraud? Like, read any of her other books? What do you think about literary fraud in general? Just all sorts of things like that. And so I will see you guys again very soon. And thanks for watching. Bye.